It's your bear here, and in today's video, we are going to explore the yokai of Ghostwire Tokyo and their inspirations from traditional Japanese folklore. Yokai is the Japanese term for a supernatural entity or spirit, which can be both helpful and harmful to humans. So let's get into it. Let's start off with one of the most terrifying yokai in Japanese mythology. Kuchisake-onna, or the slit-mouthed woman, is a malicious spirit, or yurei. The Japanese term yurei is used to describe a faint spirit or ghost. Yurei are a type of yokai who are caused by the spirits of deceased people who are prevented from a peaceful afterlife. This is likely the spirit of a woman who was killed in a particularly violent manner. Kuchisake-onna is often described as being very tall, with long, straight black hair, pale skin, and at first glance appears very beautiful. But upon further inspection, you can see that her mouth is slit from ear to ear. Anyone unlucky enough to encounter this woman will be asked if they think she is beautiful. Answer no, and she will kill you immediately with her scissors. Answer yes, and she will reveal her mouth. She'll ask again, do you still think I'm beautiful? Answer no, and she will kill you immediately with giant scissors. Answer yes, and she will slit your mouth to match hers. It's pretty much the definition of a no-win situation, but at least in that last option she doesn't kill you, so silver lining, I guess. Another well-known Japanese yokai is the Kappa. Kappa often live in bodies of water or sewer systems. Kappa are often depicted as being the size of a child with green scaly skin and a bowl of water on their head. However, these small monsters are much stronger than typical people. Kappa are considered to be very intelligent, but their behavior can be erratic. Sometimes Kappa will befriend humans, or just go around causing general mischief. Other times, they will drown victims, or bite them to death underwater. So, best to avoid these if you can. Sometimes referred to as raccoon dogs, the Tanuki are considered to be the tricksters of Japanese folklore. Adept at magic, and with the ability to shapeshift, there are numerous tales of Tanuki playing pranks on both humans and yokai. Still, it's probably best not to cross these guys. In at least one story, Tanuki kills a farmer's wife, makes a soup out of her body, and then takes her form. When the farmer comes home, the Tanuki, posing as his wife, feeds him the soup. Once he's finished, the Tanuki reverts into its normal form and then laughs at the farmer for having eaten his wife. So if you do cross the Tanuki, make sure not to anger it. The Zashiki warashi is a house spirit known for playing tricks. These yokai are often described as ghostly children with blushing red faces and are said to actually bring good luck. If your house is lucky enough to be home to one of these yokai, then your family is supposed to prosper and grow rich. However, should your actions drive the spirit away, your family will fall into ruin, so be careful. Supposedly, these yokai like cookies and other snacks, so be sure to leave some out if you suspect one lives in your home. Ame warashi are depicted in-game as small children in either red or yellow raincoats. In Old Japanese, this term literally means rain child. This is not a well-known yokai in traditional Japanese folklore, but in game, these yokai are pretty much the opposite of Zashiki warashi. Instead of bringing luck, if you are spotted by one of these yokai, they will blow their whistle, summoning other larger yokai to attack you. I suspect this is the developer's unique take on this yokai in game, as I couldn't find any examples of this traditionally. These two-tailed cats are often depicted in Japanese folklore as mimicking humans. They'll walk around on their two hind legs and even speak human language. In folklore, Nekomata look upon humans with contempt. They've been known to blackmail humans or even force them into slavery. Even worse, there are many stories of Nekomata simply killing humans and using their dead body as a puppet. Luckily, the ones in Ghostwire Tokyo seem to be more about making profit rather than killing you and reanimating your dead body. These yokai appear as normal people by day, and that's because they are. But at night, while the bodies sleep, Their necks stretch out to incredible lengths as their head roams around freely. They're often depicted as startling people who are awake late at night or just ingesting the oil from oil lamps, which is probably the reason they have a lamp in their mouth in the game. Unlike other yokai who are born monsters or become monsters when they die, Rokurokubi are transformed by a curse. These poor people might not even be aware of the curse, as the transformation happens to them while they're asleep. Word of advice, if you wake up with your mouth tasting like oil every day, you might want to get someone to check in on you at night. Nukekubi are a yokai very similar to Rokurokubi. Instead of their necks stretching out, this person's head detaches and goes flying off when the person is asleep. I suspect that the story of the Nukekubi inspired Ghostwire Tokyo's Headless School Kids. As the game takes place in a single night, instead of having the head fly off to attack people, this seems to be a situation where the head is at home asleep and a normal person's body is out roaming headless, attacking people. In legend, Nukekubi are often much more violent than Rokurokubi, as there are numerous stories of them attacking entire families and killing people in the night. These headless school kids seem to be going about normal lives, hanging out with friends, laughing, talking on the phone, but if they notice you, they'll immediately attack. Nurikabe literally means painted wall, and these yokai are most often encountered in dark alleyways and abandoned buildings. They are usually said to be invisible walls that block people's paths and trap them in a given location. When they are depicted in images, they're usually shown to be a cross between a giant beast and a great white wall. If you've ever found yourself in an unfamiliar place and can't find the exit, it is said that a Nurikabe might have been the one that blocked your path. Yuki Onna is the clear inspiration for what this game calls shiromuku. In Japanese, shiromuku simply means wedding dress, but this creature bears a striking resemblance to Yuki Onna, or the Snow Woman. Yuki Onna are said to be tall, beautiful women with pale skin who float across the ground, leaving no footprints. If threatened, Yuki Onna can transform into mist or even freeze their victims to death. Legend says this yokai can fall in love with and even marry humans, so perhaps the ones in game are yokai who outlived their human companions. Hyakki Yako is the dreaded nighttime parade of yokai and demons. It is said to be a spectacle of pure pandemonium, and any humans unlucky enough to be caught spying on this procession of the supernatural are said to be spirited away to the realm of monsters. Another of the most dreaded yokai in Japan is that of the Onryo. These are the spirits of people who died with strong feelings of hatred or rage in their hearts. Probably one of the most famous yokai outside of Japan, this is the monster depicted in the movie The Grudge. Instead of passing on to a peaceful afterlife, these spirits are transformed into malicious wraiths that seek vengeance on anyone they encounter. An Onryo is physically very strong, even capable of restraining people with only their long black hair. While more than capable of killing any human, they often prefer to torment their victims for long periods of time before killing them. Unfortunately, it doesn't take much to become the target of rage for an Onryo, often amounting to simply being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Karasu Tengu are a particular type of Tengu who resemble large birds of prey with human-like features. They are often depicted as wearing fine clothes and are said to kidnap people from their homes. In some stories, it is said that Tengu will take children and tie them to the tallest trees so that people can hear the children screaming but not be able to save them. In-game, these things are certainly screaming. Oni are often depicted as large, intimidating ogres with red skin, horns, and tusks. They're often shown wearing loincloths and are generally considered to be the villains of every story in which they are depicted. Traditionally, Oni are the result of a particularly wicked human spirit transforming into a monster. These yokai are often regarded as the bringers of disaster, spreaders of disease, and punishers of the damned. Karakasa-obake are silly-looking creatures which started off as inanimate umbrellas. Some legends say that if you have lost an umbrella and were never able to find it, it's because it transformed into a Karakasa-obake. These yokai have a single eye, a long tongue, and are often seen hopping around on one or two legs. They are often associated with haunted locations and really aren't inherently dangerous. In most cases, they're said to sneak up on humans and give them a giant lick with their long tongue. Ittan Momen are long sheets of cloth that can be seen flying through the sky late at night. While not the scariest looking monster, these yokai are said to trip people, causing them to bang their head. They'll tangle their victims up, and on occasion have been known to even strangle people. Kodama are represented as tree spirits and are usually revered as protectors of the forest. They have rarely been seen by people, but are typically depicted as a tiny human-like figure shrouded in an orb of light or leaves. They are not at all malicious and are said to bless the lands in which they live. However, cutting down a tree where a Kodama is thought to live will bring bad luck and ruin to any communities nearby. The sickle weasel, or kama itachi, is said to ride in swirling whirlwinds. These yokai have claws like razors, hard spines instead of fur, and are said to bark like a dog. They move so quickly that it is said they cannot be seen. They use this speed to cut out large chunks of people's skin and apply a healing salve to magically heal the wound they created. It is not known what they do with the skin they cut off their victims. The faceless men and women seen throughout Ghostwire Tokyo are clearly yurei, or spirits of the dead, but they have no direct correlation with any yokai in traditional Japanese folklore. Many of these yurei resemble Slendermen of modern creepypasta fame, but they also seem to be heavily influenced by Japanese working culture. These yokai appear as white-collared workers who used to live in Tokyo. They're going around trying to get into ramen shops, pay for parking, use vending machines, and one of them is creepily peering through someone's window. Teru bozu are not yokai, but are actually lucky talismans said to bring good weather. These are often handmade charms that tend to look a lot like ghosts. So other than their appearance, they're pretty much nothing like their counterparts in the game. These sheet-wearing spirits are also not yokai and seem to resemble the Western idea of a person wearing a sheet over their head. As you can tell, Ghostwire Tokyo makes reference to a ton of traditional Japanese folklore, but also modern pop culture and horror. What's your favorite yokai on this list? Let me know in the comments below, and if you like this video, give it a like and please consider subscribing. It really helps with my motivation in making videos like this. Alright, that's all for now. Take care and thanks for watching.